So one of the things, of course, IT, we're pulled into a million different directions. I won't go into this too much, but I think we all understand that, look, as IT, I'm being pulled, I've got to be legally compliant, I've got to be security compliant, I've got to protect the company, I've got to make sure that I can manage the end result, and of course, that we're still empowering our employees. Fundamentally, this all works only if Teams is a self-service, if Teams really works for our employees. If Teams can get what they need quickly, we're successful. If an employee is unable to get what they need from a product, what are they going to do? They're going to find some workaround. So really quickly, we have a lot. This isn't meant to, I'm not going to talk through this too much. I talk through it a little more in other sessions, but point being, we have a lot of teams. We've got roughly 80,000 teams within Microsoft itself, roughly 185,000 group connected SharePoint sites, including those teams, but plus a lot more. So we have a lot to manage within Microsoft overall. So when we think about teams and the uniqueness around managing teams, we think about it kind of in two segments. We think about what's part of a group itself, because obviously a Teams has some group connected artifacts, has the membership management within groups. It has so how do we manage that? How do we manage it for all the Teams chats? How do we manage and the team files are associated with a group itself? How do we manage the meeting recordings that are associated with a group? So all the things are kind of group connected. And then we have the kind of things that are one-on-one connected. They're not tied to a group, but they're part of a Team's experience that you want to make sure we're thinking about. Because obviously for legal compliance or security, how are we thinking through the chats, the meetings, the voice, all the things the employee can do on a one-on-one, whether it's share a file, whether it's internal or external, or simply chat with a peer. We want to make sure we're thinking through how we govern and manage all those things when we think about Teams. So part of this, and there's a whole session on this that was actually today with a lot of great content. In fact, that's the description of the title of the session. But that session actually has a lot more information on groups itself. So I won't talk too much about groups governance, because fundamentally there's a lot of detail and depth around how do you govern and manage groups and what's coming in groups to protect and deal with. I'll talk a little bit about what we do specifically, but fundamentally consider that all the groups, parts of Teams sit on, and all the connected team group stuff fit on the group's platform overall. So when I'm thinking about a team, I'm governing really fundamentally the group's level. And I'll start by talking about how we govern the group, and then we'll get into how we govern all the things that are non-group connected. So a core thing here is we enable self-service at Microsoft, and something that's probably somewhat unique is, or not unique, we encourage it, but we want any employee to be able to create a team at Microsoft. Anyone who's got a new project, new virtual team, spin it up, great, you've got a new membership, we want you to work in teams. That is your space for work to get done. Go create that space as you need to on a self-service basis, and we want to enable that for you. And whether it's in the other workloads too, but point being that we want you to get that team quickly and easily as you need to. And fundamentally, we think of the commonalities underneath, that we have a group's reporting, we have the ability to kind of manage and protect who's creating a team, and I'll get into some of the other things around this now. But fundamentally, making sure that employees are able to actually get the team that they need when they need it. Part of this is also when we think of the kind of a hierarchy within the company, because obviously as a company, you think of things, and you've got company-wide things, and you've got kind of divisional things and project things, and so we think of it kind of in this kind of view, that you've got some things at company level, the top-level SharePoint sites for company overall, your divisional-wide things, maybe divisional portals, maybe Yammer connections, and of course Teams plays a critical role in all this in terms of how do we help make sure that those individual teams are getting their work done? How do we make sure those team-connected sites are available for those employees to work within, those team experiences are available to work within? And so I won't talk about this too much because I had a governance session yesterday where I talked a little bit more about all the different types of governance. The point being, we've got a lot of different governance types within Microsoft, how we think about managing beyond Teams, because obviously managing 365 has a lot of different parts of it, but we think about, we'll focus now on the Teams and the groups part of it specifically. So I think about how we empower, we do about self-service. So one of the things we do, for example, is we have a dynamic group of all full-time employees that's created that says, here's a list of people who are allowed to create a team. So great, we've got that configured and managed. Everyone now who's in that group is allowed to create a team. If you're not in that group, well, when you just won't see the link to be able to create a new team. You'll be just blocked for that. At the same time, we want to make sure that if we give you a new team, we want to make sure you're still actively using it. We want to make sure it's still valuable to the company. We don't want to have teams floating around that are basically too much sprawl going on that's not used and valuable. So we clean up teams. And one of the things Teams supports really beautifully with groups, in fact, they're one of the best workloads for this, is they'll show the expiration directly in it. it. So we can use the Azure AD lifecycle management for groups to configure and say all groups within Microsoft have a 180-day renewal. If a group in that team isn't renewed at the 180-day mark, the group and the team will get expired out. But for 30 days before that, the team itself, the team owner, will get a notification within Teams to say, this team is going to expire and you need to take action to renew it. There'll be a nice renew button directly in Teams. I can therefore go ahead and renew that team right off the bat and go for it. Plus, at the same time, one of the things we want to do is identify valuable content within that team. One of the things group supports at the fundamental group level is a notion of classifying at the group level. And so one of the things we have, for example, using our classification scheme, which you've probably seen in other sessions, is the notion of saying every team at Microsoft is classified. We want to make sure, and one of the nice things is the Teams UI actually collects this classification for us, so we can say, we can go into the Azure AD and configure what is our classification scheme available to the company, and then whenever any group gets created, whether it's a Teams or a SharePoint or Outlook connected group, whatever it is, the workload collects the classification for that team. And the value here is, you think of it this way, that of course we want the people to classify at the file level, and that's obviously the best case scenario. But obviously a lot of times what's happening is people are just working in a chat or having a conversation, but the project is a sensitive project, and we want that project to be classified appropriately because, maybe it's some pre-merger information we're talking about with another company, or thinking of some sort of acquisition, or it's financial pre-earnings information, or it's really sensitive content. So we want to treat that content as highly confidential, but we want that team to work in teams securely and successfully to do so. So when they go create that new team, we're asking them, tell us what level of classification is it, and if it is a highly confidential team, great. Now we'll be able to take appropriate measures on that. For example, one of the things we do is we make sure we actually run some policies against teams. In fact, this is a quick summary of some of the policies that we actually run and do. This is also, we talk about this more in a couple other sessions, but from a summary from a team's perspective, one of the things we do that if someone creates a new team and we classify it as highly confidential, we go ahead and we flip a switch to say, okay, this team is not allowed to have external sharing and external membership available to it. One of the nice things about teams and the beauty of the kind of the whole teamwork notion is it should be totally fine and fair for someone in one org to work with someone outside the company in some cases. If someone in Windows wants to work with a chip manufacturer or work with some supplier for the Xbox, great, no problem. We want to encourage that. We would rather that external collaboration be happening in teams than happening somewhere else. For us, there's a lot of safety in that. We can make sure all the right controls are there. But at the same time, if something is really massively sensitive, at highly confidential, the top of the stack, external collaboration is not appropriate. That's certainly not without any kind of review or accountability. So we turn off external membership in teams if that group is classified as highly confidential. That's one of the things we do. One of the nice things that's coming with groups that was announced here this week is that in groups itself, you'll be able to do that directly in Security and Compliance Center to say, here's a label, highly confidential. That label is associated with a policy, which for new team creation, for example, will turn off external membership. So that will be directly in groups. Right now, it's something we had to do custom on top, but the nice thing is groups itself already supports the basic plumbing for that. So it already supports the ability for you to set that classification. It already supports the ability to set the lifecycle management. So a lot of these fundamental things are already there in groups for you to use today, including, for example, usage guidelines. Like we want our employees to understand how to use Teams and be successful and polite about it. I mean, some of the things we want to tell employees to do is just be respectful of your employees. Be inclusive as you're working with other employees. Very simple things, but when you create a new team, we want to tell you, here are the rules. You are now a new Teams custodian, effectively. You own the data behind this thing. You are the content owner. Great, manage this appropriately. So give you some rules around this. These are all things baked into the group's platform that make all this possible that we just configure and take advantage of. We do a few other custom things on top, like the policy stuff I noted before, like looking for orphan teams to say, hey, this team has no owner. What are we going to do about that? Because we want to make sure that every team has an owner. So we do a few things on top of it all, but basically, fundamentally, the group's platform provides a lot of this. Ness.
Hey, everyone. So what we also wanted to do was just highlight a few things that we have to be aware of when it comes to governance, because there are laws and regulations within different countries, different geographies that we have to adhere to, and we have to make sure that we don't somehow bend them when we start moving all our users to cloud for different services like voice. A particular example for voice are when we start hosting our users in the cloud for Teams and especially voice, we have to understand that we may not be able to do that if our users are located in countries where voice in Office 365 is prevented today due to government regulations. A typical example is India. The regulatory laws in India require that if you want to dial a telephone number from within India, then that call needs to actually go out the telco that provides service in that specific city. So if I am a user in India and today I am sitting in an office in Mumbai, and if I buy a telephone line from a telco in Mumbai, I can make a call using the telephone line from Mumbai. If I end up in Bangalore tomorrow, which is a completely different city, if I'm using Skype for Business today, the way it will work is when I make that call, it will still go out the Mumbai telephone line that is assigned to me, but that's a definite no. If I move from Mumbai to Bangalore for one day, when I make a call from that city, the call needs to go out the local telco in Bangalore at that point, which is why this is done using location-based routing, which you have to do using Skype for Business server. You have to create subnets and you have to classify your traffic and your users saying, users calling from this subnet goes out this telco. You can't do that yet in Office 365, and we're working on that. So any user who's in any country where we have these restrictions, we need to make sure that we don't enable them for calling in Teams. I've had a lot of conversations with customers, and what I've seen normally is their users may be based in India, but when they enable them for Office 365, they give them a usage location of United States and they give them a US telephone number, which is a mistake that we should not make because it's technically not correct to do so. We have other limitations when it comes to voice. There are certain countries where we do not have dial-in conferencing numbers available for PSTN conferencing. These are some examples of countries that we have offices in, we have users in, but we do not have dial-in conferencing numbers available for them. And we continuously work with the engineering team to keep adding support for new countries. Our solution today for any user who is in a country where they cannot get a conferencing number in their Teams meeting, we have to home them on-prem with Skype for Business. That's how we use Skype today, and that's how we use Teams today. The plan in future is to make dial-in conferencing numbers available locally through direct routing as well. I do not know what the ETA on that is, but we would be very happy when that is available because it will solve not your problem, it will solve a big problem for us first. Okay? There is also a lot of countries in the world where we do not have calling plans available. These are the countries that have calling plans available, so you can buy a telephone number, you can port your telephone number directly to Microsoft if you happen to be homed here. But if you have offices in countries around the world and your country isn't listed here, you do not have a way to use PSTN calling directly through Office 365. You need to have a local telephone number, which then, if you want to use Teams, has to be done using direct routing. Direct routing is the hybrid voice equivalent of Skype for Business hybrid voice. Next slide. A few other things from a governance perspective that we wanted to just highlight is we have to make decisions when newer features are rolled out. Read receipts is a new feature that you may not yet be aware of. It allows a user to decide whether I can know if someone else has read the message that I just sent them. We have to make sure we configure it such that, do we want our users to allow to see that? If we do we want the users to have the ability to turn it off or on for themselves? How do we do it? We are going to go ahead and leave that option available to users. We'll turn it on saying that the user has a choice to enable or disable it if they want to, but you could use a different approach. Federation, when it comes to Teams, users talking to anyone outside the company, whether it's Skype online, on-prem, hybrid online, on-prem, or Teams, we have open federation in Office 365, so we do not block any domains. We will allow you to talk to us as long as you allow us to talk back to you.
And one thing I'll add to that is that also ties on top of course, the fact you've got external membership turned on for Teams. And so you have to decide as a tenancy, do you enable external membership to allow someone to join the chats and join the teams themselves? And that's set at the group level directly. And one of the things I mentioned earlier is we do encourage that external collaboration. Therefore, in our case, for most cases, we will enable that external membership setting on Teams directly.
Sweet. Giphies. I don't know, David, if you want to elaborate on the Giphy piece, because I know you're very passionate about it. We found out that when you enable the moderate setting for Giphies, which we have in our environment, there are times when there are certain Giphies that are a little inappropriate for work. And we suddenly switched everything back to strict, and then the users were not happy, because when you switch it to strict, it's just cartoon characters. So what we did was we shifted it back to PG. We worked with our legal team, and even though it is set to PG, it enables a user to go ahead and find an image that might be inappropriate. We still hold the user accountable that you should have the ability to decide that what you're doing doesn't seem appropriate. So just because the product allows you to send an image to someone doesn't mean that you are not responsible for what you're doing.
It's like any conversation. If you're chatting with someone and saying something inappropriate, obviously we want to hold those employees accountable. Obviously everything's audited anyway, so we know what the employee did. We can track for that. So Giphies are no different. So if someone chooses an inappropriate Giphy, that's on them.
Perfect. Yep. Same goes with a few settings that you may be aware of. Messaging. A user has the ability to delete their own message. A user has the ability to, an admin has the ability, a team admin has the ability to delete someone else's message. We allow all of that. We don't block any of this. Any user in a company can delete, edit their own messages. Calls and meetings, we allow video sharing, we allow file sharing, we allow conferencing. We do not block anything for our users. So when you go to the Teams and Skype portal, when you go to calling and messaging settings, anything that you see in there, we have it turned on. We haven't blocked anything, because we've realized that even if you do block something, there will be a section of users who would escalate, who would want to use it. And even if you don't have any users who don't want to use any of the features that you've blocked, the engineering team would be the one who will come to us and say that we want our users to use it, do not block anything. So it always is a balance between, because we have to use everything to make sure we know about the problem. So we allow everything as long as we govern it. Guest access also is something that's turned on company-wide for us. So any user in Microsoft can create a team, add any guest that they wish. We don't block that either.
Will be subject to classification. As I mentioned earlier, if a classification is highly confidential, then we do turn that off.
Data retention. This is more a self-explanatory slide. We have different classifications. As we all know, we have Teams chats, we have Teams channel conversation, we have team files, we have Teams and meeting files. We also have recordings and that you do in Teams. The slide here shows where is the data that happens in these chats and in these meetings.